Joining us right now on the phone is the man who exposed the Bigfoot hoax, Steve Kulls, private investigator and executive director of Squatchdetective.com.
The numbers of sightings, even if you take 99% of them and put them in the trash can, you turn around, you still have that 1% that can't be explained. Well, we need to explain it.
And then this thing walks across the road, makes a turn towards us.
All I can remember is flipping the light on, and I see this creature.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black thing, is all I can call it.
And the whole time, the whole thing was shadowing us, right behind us, right on the side of us.
I still see that damn thing to this day. It wasn't 20 feet from me.
You could see it standing from the moonlight in the tree line.
I was just scanning right to left, and it reminded me of like a gorilla.
Get somebody out here. Son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatch Detective, Steve Kulls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs, too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, May 28th, 2023. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective, Steve Kulls, along with my co-host, Mr. Chris Bennett. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Hey, Steve, man. It's good to see you.
Good.
I heard you guys like having a heat wave up north there. What's going on?
It's pretty warm.
Yeah.
It's
not like,
warm.
Yeah. All the glaciers melting up there or something.
So I just want to throw this out there to the chat. How does the mic sound tonight? I think I got the problem fixed. So, yeah, it's hot. It's hot.
It sounds good to me, but I'm not in the...
Grass said Steve fixed his mic. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not in the chat, so I can't say. And I have these really, really crappy headphones. Okay, don't get me wrong. Rose's is a great store for some stuff, but you don't want to buy headphones there.
Right. So what ended up happening was StreamYard changed some of the drivers in their audio software. And that mic sounds hot.
Oh, no.
No, everybody's saying it sounds good. I think Mick is just pulling my leg.
Oh. Yeah, StreamYard, they tend to do that. They'll upgrade a driver or something other than 1 week everything's fine, and the next week we start the show and it's like, what happened? You know?
Yep. And what happened is for some reason it wasn't playing well with the soundboard. So I yanked the soundboard today, and the mic is working fine. Yeah. And again, it's not the soundboard's fault either. This is StreamYard because, Chris is louder than me. I understand that.
Oh.
So give me one
second.
I'm sorry.
Do I need to turn mine down some?
Nope, I need to turn
mine up. I just need to be... Normally, I kind of talk loud too. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, let me just fix this a little bit. Okay, how about now? So, there, that should do it. That should do it just like that.
How about mine? I turned my volume down some. Is that better?
No, you were fine to begin with.
I'm just going to leave mine down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, when we're backstage talking to one another, we literally sound fine to one another, and we're adjusting our levels. Okay, you sound good.
Yeah.
But it's the stream, and I found that out by, because I'm not sounding. I wasn't sounding hot or distorted or anything in my headphones.
Yeah.
And neither was I to Chris or any of the guests. It's only when the show streamed that their compression and their audio compression was screwing things up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, listening to the show online is like, whoa, wait a minute. Did I really sound like that? I didn't think I sounded like that.
So, but anyway, what a week it's been. And we have a great guest on tonight, so we're going to have a lot of fun with her in a second. But what a week it has been. But first, as I always like to do, and I would play my applause right now if I could, but I'd like to thank the new members to Squatch-D TV. We have new channel sponsor, Relic Hominid, and a couple of more channel supporters, Brandy Nixon.
Brandy?
And Suzanne Farinchak, who sent me a really nice letter over the weekend. And, she was very happy and very nice. Made her feel very comfortable talking about her thing. It was really the first time she did it on a live podcast. And she said, you guys were wonderful. You made me feel completely at ease. But tonight we're gonna give the works to our guest. No, we're not.
Put her on the spot. Yeah. No. We don't do that.
Now, some of you guys I'm seeing for the second time today, and I'm glad I'm seeing you guys. And thanks for coming out, who came out to the premiere of our new video that got cut out this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whatever you want to call it. Couldn't have been this morning. I filmed it this afternoon. But, yes, we all know that Mike Patterson of Sasquatch, Ontario, put out this ludicrous picture trying to claim, so-and-so took it. And there was not, they didn't even see, we didn't even see the Bigfoot in the picture at the time we took it. And, they looked at it and this was back in 2019, allegedly, and there was two standing there, and they're X tall because the fence is 66 inches tall, and blah, blah, blah. And you look at it.
We're just going to take a picture of the towels on the fence.
Well, exactly. Psychologically, there's a couple of, and they're not even, they're the dog's towels, according to them. So why would you be taking a picture of a couple of dog towels hung over a fence at night? Why would you do that? I felt like it. I like the towels are sexy. I tell them to work it. I don't know. So, but you look at the pictures and they are the fakest. What I did was I added a little exposure to it.
Yeah.
And they, obviously there are gorilla masks or maybe even Sasquatch masks or costume masks or whatever. And Don's right. It's so stupid. But
I was lurking in the chat there for the premiere. I was watching the video because this is the first time that I had seen it too, guys. I'm with you guys, so I'm sitting here watching it, and then I thought, well, when I first saw it, I was, that's kind of funny. But when Steve showed those pictures where he had lightened the exposure, oh gosh, that was a good one.
So yeah, that's the first thing you do, and it was so pathetic. But and this is very funny. The whiners are starting already. They're starting already because this wasn't actually posted before the video went out or before even my advertisement went out. Because and another person that I know, and once in a while he's in the chat, Tommy John, he started posting a picture, which he lightened it up too, but you can already see that the whiners are whining all over the place again. Patterson saying, I knew this would bring some real ignorant people out. Really? Okay.
Oh.
I didn't make a dozen comments, so obviously he's not talking about me. He must be talking about somebody else, but
yeah.
He's already, trying to say, don't criticize me, it's disrespectful, basically. And then Thinker Thunker on his fan page, if you share posts from other groups that speak negatively about Thinker Thunker, you will be removed. Polite debate is one thing, seeking to discredit the founder of this group is another. Do that on your own page. Well, you know what? We don't need anybody to discredit the founder of that particular group. He's done that on his own.
Well, when Bigfoot evidence is presented, I reserve the right to look into it and check it out. I'm not just going to accept it because somebody said this is real.
Right.
Everybody says this is real, especially if they're hoaxers. They'll say this is real, but you got to do your own due diligence there and check into it.
And of course, the video had the brief. I forget what year it was, 2018, 2019, where he had the fallout with his little buddy up there.
Well, they were doing the Sasquatch audio by breathing in and talking to make an odd.
Can you get me a peach Snapple?
You have to excuse me, Steve, because I'm Generation X, and I feel like there's a lot of stupid people in the world, and I may be one of them. But to do something so obvious to try to fool people, I mean, how stupid can people be? There is no way.
Yeah, I'm Generation X as well, or Generation X rated. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, so what do you say we talk to our guest tonight, and let's talk about Bigfoot in Alabama?
Yeah.
The Rose of Alabama.
Wait a minute. We didn't do the roll call, Steve.
We didn't. Well, let's do the roll call. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So many things gone on today.
Hang on, Anita. We'll be right there.
Okay, first up today is... Okay, first in tonight was our new member, Relic Hominin.
Yeah.
Uncle Bones, Patrick Collins, good old Pat Collins.
Good to see, buddy.
Grasshopper, B-Lynn, but B had to leave, and, Godspeed.
When you get
Uncle
your show.
Bones is in the house.
Uncle Bones, welcome.
Brent, the tall ones, is in the house, still doing excellent work.
Brent?
And you know what, Brent? Yeah, this may not be politically correct, but the people that are knocking you down, piss on them. That's what I say. Joe over at the Bigfoot Atheist Inquiry was on his show last week, and we had a great discussion about the origins of the Sasquatch. Cindy Finn in the house. Sandra Piper.
Sandra?
Jen is in the house. We knew that. Finding the Trackway. Angel Nolan.
Angel.
John Ayers in the house.
Hey, John.
Helton, a.k.a. Faster Man.
Faster Man.
I know Little Kilroy is here somewhere. I saw him post.
You guys.
The Howler is in the... I love that name, The Howler.
The Howler. I like that. That's good.
Didn't you tell me about a girlfriend you used to call The Howler?
No, you've been watching Porkies.
Mick is in the house. Hey, Mick. Jay
good
Fritz, Kevin Harder.
Hey, good to see you. Kevin?
Mike over at Tactical Bigfoot Research.
Mike, how's it going, Tac? Good to see you.
Dun, dun, dun. The wife is in the house.
Sherry. Yeah, saw her a while ago. I see Little Kilroy. Hey, welcome.
You're getting there. Lowrider in the house. There's Low.
Lowrider. The chat is hopping tonight. Thanks, guys. I'm halfway
John
through.
Swan. John Swan's in the house.
Don?
Eyes in the Woods in the house.
That's a good name, too. Did you say Sandra Piper?
Yes, I did. Nikki's in the house. Some hairy man hoaxes and hoodwinks.
Hey, Nikki.
I tried getting on earlier. Well, actually, I didn't try on, but I guess Professor McGillicuddy showed up here tonight, and he tried getting on. But I told him the mic was broken, but he didn't want to let you hear about it, and he just got on the show anyway. Gary Johnson Sr., he's in the house.
Gary?
And I think we got, of course, Bigfoot Okanagan. Legon, what's happening?
Good to see you, bud.
So here we are. Roll call is done.
Arthur Watch.
Arthur Watch is in the play. Yep.
What?
Arthur Watch.
That mom?
Oh, Bat Mom's here too. I don't know where you're getting.
I saw Bat Mom up there earlier. Yeah, there she is.
Well, oh, Bat Mom. Sorry I missed you. It's, it's like I tried to get a little rest between the premiere and the show. You think that happened? Nope. But here we are. So
I think that's everybody. Yeah, the chat was really hopping. And thanks, guys, for being here, and thanks for hopping the chat. We really appreciate it.
All right, so let's get Anita on the show. Here we are. Hello, Anita. How are you?
Anita.
Hello, and I brought my towel.
All right.
You gonna put it over the fence and take a picture of it later?
I just thought I'd bring my towel too.
Well, there might be some. So we'll check this later for see if there's any Bigfoots back there in the background.
Yeah, that's right.
You're gonna put it over the fence, take a picture of it, then maybe even take a selfie with your towel.
I'll send it. I'll send you a picture.
No. Mike said, my bad. No, it wasn't you. I would have loved to have taken your call and spent more attention about talking about Sherwin Williams and Bear and what's the other paint there? Anyway, and talk about gloss and flats and semi-gloss and all that fun stuff. But unfortunately, I was trying to unplug the soundboard from the system and rewire everything, and that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back.
Painting is fun.
Anyway, so Anita, we got a lot to talk about tonight. First, let's do a pitch for the Alabama Bigfoot Conference 2023, which is June 9th
through 10th. The night will be a meet and greet at a local restaurant. It's a steakhouse, but it's got a grand buffet. Oh, it's wonderful. And it's extra. You can buy that and the conference. The conference is the 10th of June, and it's a full day. It's at a new event center, so we're hoping it's going to work. Keep my fingers crossed. But we're excited about that. We've got some good vendors coming, good talented speakers and researchers coming. It's going to be fun. The group that's coming is absolute blast. Steve is coming to our Bigfoot conference, and I'm so excited about that because he's a hoot. And
on the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
We also have Stacy Brown from Florida. Stacy is involved with a lot of projects looking for skunk ape, and that's, of course, in different areas across the country. I guess we call it different things, but I'm excited to hear more about that. And Stacy, I told him I was going to be on here tonight, and he said, "Cool." So anyway,
Stacy's been on the show a couple of times in the past.
Yeah.
He's a great guest.
Also going to have a local guy from North Alabama named Greg Ogles. Greg has a lot of film projects, and I'm excited to hear more about those. Also, we have Tex from Texas Front Porch. He is really funny. He was there last year, brought down the house. And he's going to talk about Dog Man and some of his experiences out in Brown Springs, Texas. So Oklahoma, Texas, whichever it is. And we also have, my mind is blank right this minute. Adam Davies, of course. Adam's so funny. And
see, look at that. I have all this other stuff I've done today, yet I still on
You're
the job.
Very good. I'm proud of you. But Adam's going to come, and he's going to talk about his experiences, I guess, all over the world. Really excited about that, and just kind of introducing themselves and telling something quick about themselves that they're going to be with us next year is Blondes and Booze, BOOS. They're going to come and just
thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, I know. The name is very deceitful, but the
Oh no! After you hear me speak, you'll hear booze.
Just come sober to my conference.
You know what? I do not. It's very funny. You can ask Chris. I think I've done one show where we had a drink, and that was because it was a holiday.
Oh.
I'm a type 2 diabetic. So usually I don't drink till before it's bedtime because I'm right out.
Right. Me too. And it's just, but we're going to have a great time. Everybody is. And like I said, they're vendors, and each of the guys that are coming are going to have their vendor. Each of the speakers coming are going to have their vendor table, and you're going to get to do that. We'll have posters that will be signed by everybody. And we've got, the important thing, we've got a silent auction. The auction, all the proceeds that are bid for the auction will be put toward 2 scholarships for Jacksonville State University science students. So I'm proud of that. That's the way we can give back to the community and help somebody. They've got a new forensics program, and what do? We gather evidence. Right. And so learning how is going to be a good thing. Hopefully but we're just saying science students. And last year we got $600 for this. I didn't give the money out. I still have it. So we're going to double that hopefully this year and put a very hearty scholarship toward each student. We've got some really good things. I'm going to show you this real quick if I can get it up here. It's the cane. It has a foot. Yeah. Can you see it good?
Yep.
Has a foot
hang on. We can
for the handle.
Let's see what we can.
Take it over that way a little bit so we.
Okay, and the Bigfoot on the is it Bigfoot?
Okay. Yeah, I see it.
It was a local crafter, a Vietnam veteran, gave us this. And
go ahead, show that again, Anita. There we are.
Okay. There's the.
Oh yeah.
And then the foot. This is the lady's cane now. The lady's cane has. Let me see if I can turn it around here. It has red toenails. So I thought that was cute that he did that. But we have a guy's cane too. We have also something from the Australian Yowie research group. They sent us something for our auction. I've got something from Lyle Blackburn. There are about several other people that we have good things from, and you'll want that are signed, and you'll definitely want to participate in the auction. Bring your money because that goes for a great cause. And I'm really excited about it. It's going to be fun, and we always have a good time, even if things don't always turn out like we think they should. Last year I was pulling my hair out and looked like a wild-eyed crazy lady because it was my first conference, but this is our second year. We made it through last year, and this is the second conference, and so we're glad it was. And I was told last year by a couple of people who are big in the research industry that, it'll never work. Well, it did. So this year we're going to make it work again.
I've been to my share of great conferences. This is going to be one of them, obviously. Remember, what was it, a few years ago, there was this really shady conference I got invited to, and their silent auction, very interesting. They auctioned off, a bunch of things, and all proceeds are going to Larry the guy on the corner on 29th Ave, who was out there with the sign, and I won an item. It was supposed to be a box of tissues. I found out it was a box of tissues, but they were used. So it's really a really bad conference, but this one definitely is going to be a different one.
Definitely. I'm excited about this because I've never done a silent auction. I used to do a lot of community event planning, but I kind of got out of it for a while, and I thought, back when I started telling my story, my Bigfoot story, the people that I talked with online said, you ought to go to a conference. And so of all the crazy places I picked Michigan Bigfoot Conference in Ann Arbor. all the way from Alabama to Michigan, and I thought, this is crazy, but it's the first time I had traveled by myself in years. My husband died in 2005, and I hadn't really done anything since then. And so a few years back, I started talking to people online about my Bigfoot story, and went all the way up there and had a blast. Just loved it. And the ladies of the Bigfoot group there really did welcome me in. And I think it's just because I talk Southern, because they wanted to, it's like, yeah, you guys come over here and listen to her talk.
Now this is my impression of Anita. You know, somebody comes up, yeah, I saw a Sasquatch came out of a UFO and projected some thoughts in my head. And she's like, bless your heart.
Bless your little heart. Yep, that's it. Well, you know,
that's like, that whole phrase. We could go into that and talk for an hour about the phrase "bless your heart," because it can mean so many different things and can be used in so many different ways.
Well, you know, when a Southern woman says, "Do you know Jesus?" She don't mean, she's not questioning if you know Jesus. She just means you fixing to meet him.
Yep. Yep.
So anyway, Southern people are quite unique, and I've lived here just, you know, all my life, with a little time in Atlanta, and it's just me. I'm just Southern. And we have plenty of Squatches around here, I'll tell you.
So let's talk about how you got involved in all of this. Of course, I believe it was a sighting.
It was in 1979. It was on Mount Cheeha, Cheha. That's the highest point in Alabama, and it's the foot of the Appalachian Mountain Range. So in Talladega National Forest. So, you know, it was, I didn't even think about Sasquatch or Bigfoot or anything like that then. I was actually on a date, so I wasn't thinking about that. And we walked out, and then you had to walk 2 miles out to the bald rock, B-A-L-D rock. It looks like a bald place on the person's head on the side of the mountain there. And that's what it's called, that. And what we walked out there, and on the way out, I remember that we said, you know, that we noticed the smell. It was like a rotten something with kind of a mossy, decaying, mossy smell. Yeah. And noticed how that smelled. And then we got out there. We just kind of passed that off and went on out there, figured something dead out there. And when we got out there, of course, like any red-blooded American male, he tried to lean me back on the rock and steal a kiss or whatever. And we started getting little pebbles and pine cones thrown at us. And so we kind of set up and looked, and there was no one out there.
Hold on, stop. Now, you said steal a kiss. Are we talking like petty larceny or grand larceny?
He would have got to grand larceny if anything hadn't happened, probably.
Okay, that's all I want to know. Carry on.
Okay, carry on. But I'm sure he wanted to. Anyway, I was in my 20s. That was cute, you know. But then we started, like I said, getting pebbles thrown on us and pine cones, and we looked around and there was nobody there, and we figured maybe they were rolling down from the top of the rock.
I don't want to interrupt your story, but I see that Brian from Brian and Chewy Go Hiking is in the chat. He's listening and driving. And I know Chewy got hit with a porcupine this week, but he's doing much better. And Brian, we're so glad that Chewy's okay. Yeah. Again, give him a pat on a pat in the head from us, and a cookie. So
get well soon, buddy.
So okay, sorry, Anita.
That's okay. That's okay. And then he tried that again. He leaned me back on the rock and tried to steal what he could. And then we started getting hit by twigs and bigger rocks. And we got up off the rock, slid down off the rock onto the ledge. There was a ledge about a 30-foot drop. And it was overlooking a field of tall grass and saplings. At that time, they were just saplings. Now it's full-grown forest. But we looked down off that, and there it was about 50 yards from us, looking at us. But now that I have a fruit fly in front of me, anyway, now that I know a little bit more, I think that may have been a juvenile. I think it may have been, because it wasn't very tall. I can't guess, about probably 5 or 6 feet. And it was brown, almost a reddish brown, bipedal. And the thing is, I think there were 2 of them, because the other one was up on the ledge watching us come through. And the other one was down on the ground. And I don't know why, just getting attention from us. It just stood there and looked at us, and I was going, let's go. Come on, let's go. And he's going, no, let me look at this. Let me look at it. So, and I'll tell you why he was so curious. He was a news journalist in the area. And so he made me promise. He said, swear you won't tell anybody ever about this, because back in that day, in 79, you were labeled as crazy.
Right.
If you said you saw a Sasquatch.
Bigfoot was a 4-letter word.
Yeah, it was. And so it's still kind of, I was scared when I got home. I thought it was going to follow me home, but he made me promise not to tell. I don't live probably maybe 10 miles from there. And he said, don't. And I promised him I would not tell. He was a very well-known journalist in this area. And so I out of respect for him, I don't ever use his name in my story, because, it's just, he passed away about 3 years ago. And I just, out of respect, I don't use his name.
A quick point I want to make out this the chat's been, I never thought about that. Poor Chewy. Wouldn't happen to be Noel's porcupine that did that, would it?
Oh, surely not.
Anyway, but wow. So Chris, you want to ask your standard questions like you love asking questions?
Well, it's been 1979. It's not like you can just pull that fresh out of your memory.
But, I've never forgotten any of it. Because,
yeah, usually when you have a bellwether event like this.
Oh my gosh, I've never forgotten it.
That I like to think about and ask about are like, did you notice the shape of its head? Was it kind of a rounded head, or did it have like a sagittal crest, like a gorilla head? Because there's reports of both.
It was, if I can remember that, it seems like it was more rounded, not more conical.
Right. Yeah.
It had hair, less hair on the face. The arms were longer than your person, than a person would have been. It was not a person. It was definitely not a person. There would have been no person out in that field doing that.
Well, y'all were. It was after dark, right?
No, it was fresh on daytime.
Okay.
Probably about 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Well, I was going to ask about eye shine, but we can't go there.
Not at night, Chris. This is amazing. This is actually a daytime sighting. About what time of day do you recall this was?
2 or 3 in the afternoon, maybe.
Wow.
So it was full sun that day too.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because years ago there was a sighting report up my way, which involved a married couple that went off trail, and it was during the day too. So it's very I don't know what it is about couples seeing Bigfoot during the day, but there's two very,
Well,
My sightings,
I think,
instead of, unless the eye shine was the only ones at night, all the rest of them were during the daytime, during the day.
And by the way, Brandy and Where Sasquatch Roams snuck in the house.
Hi, Brandy. That's
well,
my baby girl.
the thing is, I think there were two because I think they were juvenile. I think they were playing with us, just seeing what we would do, and someone brought up a good point in Michigan when I was talking about it. They said, well, maybe they were it was trying to protect you from the guy. Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe they talked among themselves and said, hey, he's being kind of forward. Let's hit him with a pine cone.
Let's get him. He never got that kiss or anything else. He never dated me again after that. I think it scared him too.
Well, I remember those days back in the 20s something.
I don't remember it either. I'm up there too. And
so, do you recall how tall these guys were?
Oh, this one I didn't see the other one. Now, that's why I said I just think it was two because the ledge was about 30 feet, and I think one was up on the ledge watching us as we were hiking, and then the other one was down below. Maybe I don't know that there were two, but I know I saw one, and it was probably 5 or 6 feet, maybe.
Now this is in Alabama, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
yes.
So very close to Florida.
About 5 hours from Florida, 5 hours north.
All right. Yeah. Still, that's not all that far.
Very close to Georgia. Alabama mountains run into Georgia mountains, and they're all, part of that Appalachian mountain chain.
Now, mind you, the weather in Alabama is quite warm, as it is in Georgia and Florida.
It was hot.
Quite, yeah.
About September.
It's been said that, the skunk ape is a lot smaller than, say the Sasquatch of the Pacific Northwest or the Northeast, where they tend to be, 7-8 feet tall, or the, Oklahoma. So this is a very, would you consider it temperate or more, well, it's not tropical like the Everglades, I would say. But
it's humid, though. It's humid. The humidity here can be quite high, but like today was 82 and it was breezy and not as humid, but most days in the summer is sweat. Hey, Southern girls glisten, but everybody else sweats.
Well, that's the thing about the South. Yeah, it's really humid, and we grow a lot of crops here that do real good in the humidity. Tobacco and other smoking crops.
Mm-hmm.
And where Sasquatch Roams said, excited for the Bama Bigfoot Convention. I'll be there.
All right.
And Joe says, Anita sounds like she'll never forget it either. I believe her.
I won't. It's funny. Like I said, I didn't talk about this for years. And then I went to finally started talking to people online. And I was trying to pick creditable people like Ken Gerhard, people like that, to talk to about it. I knew that everybody that says they have seen Bigfoot or Sasquatch have not. And I wanted to pick the people who are creditable and talk to a few people online and said, you ought to go to a Bigfoot conference. So I went to the one that I had talked to several of the people, and it was nice to go and meet those people. And that kind of got me started. I had had a patient who would tell me, he saw my phone, the back of my phone had Sasquatch cover on it. And he said, oh, you like Bigfoot? And so we got to talking. And he said that he'd go out on the front porch at night. They lived way out in the woods. And he said, I'll go out there with my oxygen on and sit and listen to them call to each other. And I said, oh, you do? And so we got to talking about that. And he found out I was going to the Michigan conference. And this is a really good story, a sweet, heartwarming story. But he found out and he said, would you get me an autograph of Cliff? Because he would watch that show, and
Cliff Barrington.
Yeah. And I said, well, sure, I'll try to do that. And so when I approached Cliff, I asked him, I told him the story that I was a hospice nurse and this is one of my patients. Yeah. Could I get, and he watches this show, could I get an autograph for him? And he said, I'll tell you what, let me do something else. Wait till they all go back in the conference and come back to the table. So I did, and he said, let's make him a 2-minute video.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
I just, my heart was melted. And then when I played it for the guy, oh my gosh, tears come up in his eyes. And this was somebody that didn't just cry at the drop of a hat. And then I got in the car and boohooed all the way and cried all the way to my next patient. And oh, it was just so beautiful. And I said, you know, and I got to thinking after, and then I went to the Texas conference in October, and I said, you know, I think I can do one of these. And we don't have anything like this in Alabama. So when I did, I said, who am I going to get? And I remembered what Cliff did. And I said, that's the kind of person I want at my conference. And
Absolutely.
So I got him the first year.
Yeah, Cliff's a great guy.
He is. He's a stand-up guy. And, you know, like, it's weird because I've run into situations like that as well. I'm just a person, so to me, it can get kind of weird. You know, and for people in the chat that know me and people that hang out with me, you know, I'm just me. But for some reason, some people think I'm a big deal. I'm really not. I'm just me. So it's very humbling when somebody comes up and I make their day by standing there and talking to them, or you know, signing a picture from here, or you know, paying attention to their kids or stuff like that.
It's great.
To me, I owe that to them. They're coming there to see me. I owe that to them. And I owe it to be at my best, to be full facilitated, to have a lot of fun, and to because that's me. Everybody knows me. I'm fun loving. You saw the antics we got involved with at the Texas conference last year, or the year before last, I should say. Mm-hmm. And I swear to God,
how you nearly got me arrested by TSA.
Yes, that's right.
I had to be frisked 4 times at the airport because of him.
I was like, you know her? Nope. Yeah, we had a connecting flight out of Shreveport. And where did we fly into? Atlanta?
Yeah.
I forgot. But we had the same flight out of Atlanta. So Craig drove us to the airport. And we're going through the airport. And he gets stopped by the TSA. Excuse me, ma'am, we need to see you in the bag. Like
4 times. If I hadn't had a thrill before then, I mean, you know, I must have had a thrill. But 4 times they frisked me.
Oh,
she was behind me. You know, maybe it was that note I slipped to the TSA agent. Hey, drugs behind me.
That's probably it. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Knowing Steve, you know, they probably asked him, "Hey, do you know her?" And Steve probably said, "Yeah, that's that lady that wanted me to take that bag of baby powder, but it wasn't in the bottle, so I didn't feel comfortable."
Said something about anthrax.
He said he was gonna tell them I tried to hand him the bag.
I did.
She asked me to carry her bag through the check-in. I don't know why. Oh, terrible.
But, you know, it's weird. Do you know why they finally said that it kept going off on me?
Why? No.
They said that the little beeper kept going off because I constantly used as a nurse, they said, what do you do? And I said, I'm a nurse. And they said, oh, wait a minute, that explains it. And I never knew this before, and I still don't think I don't know if it's true, but they said, you use hand sanitizer all the time, right? And I said, well, yes. And they said, well, it's in your system. It's in your body.
Huh.
And that's what makes it go on.
After the pandemic, we're all setting that sumbitch off.
But this was, you know, and they said that was because I had absorbed so much of it in my body that it's not going to work with me. I said, well, thank you. There weren't any good-looking guys back there. There were only women, and I said, you got somebody good-looking out there that I could, can he frisk me?
Mike said Steve puts dog treats in her bag.
Yeah. That's why the dogs are like, oh. All the drug dogs are like, Vroom.
Dog treats, okay.
Cocaine? Nope. Alpo. Milk bones.
Yeah. Begging strips.
That's like anytime I go out in the woods with a new person, I slip a stake into the back of their backpack. So if there's a bear, it goes for him, not for me.
You don't have to be fast. You just have to be faster than the other person.
Oh, no. You put a stake in my backpack, buddy, I'll stop and build a fire. We're going to roast that thing up.
That's right. Now, the question of the night is, do you have the odds board set yet for who's going to eat the most at the buffet out of all the guests?
No, but I should make that up, shouldn't I?
Who's going to eat? My money's on Davies.
Does he eat a lot?
I don't know. I've never met him.
He's a really nice guy. He's kind of kooky. Kind of kooky, but he's a nice guy. I don't pick anybody but nice people. I'm sorry, I make that mistake. I got you instead, but I mean,
wow, I've just been done.
No, not really. No, I know. And I only pick quality people. See, there you go.
And well, I got picked.
Well, I'm going to get back on Bigfoot here.
Yes, sir.
Well, I wanted to tell you though, I did not know when I came home from the Michigan conference. My mother, who is she doesn't drive anymore, but she got to asking me, now, what did y'all do? Who'd you meet? What'd they say? What'd you learn? All that stuff. And I started telling her, and in the middle of it, she stopped me. She said, wait a minute. Do you remember your papa, my granddad, used to tell you stories about the hairy man? And I said, well, yeah. And she said, that's Bigfoot. He grew up as a mountain man. He grew up on the side of this same mountain range that I saw this. And him and his brothers and sisters, there were 6, I think. And he had a twin brother and a baby sister, and they would play outside all day long in the woods. That's what you had to do then, And he said at night they would want to play outside longer, and the hairy man is what they called it. The hairy man would come to the edge of the woods there and go, do this horrible roar and growl, and they would run home. And he said several times when they were walking on the trail, they'd see this hairy man up ahead of them a ways up, and they would start running home again. But he would just tell us stories about the hairy man, and I thought, oh my gosh, now I have a family legacy of Bigfoot sightings. And I thought, wow, how cool, and I'm starting to write stories in my books, and I've had several paranormal experiences and angel encounters and things like that. But I definitely, and one of my chapters will be how I narrowly escaped a serial killer, and that's a true story. It's going to be fun.
Hold on. Do tell. You don't tell an investigator, professional investigator. You got away with.
In the early 70s, and I cannot find the newspaper article. I've looked and looked in the archives, and I've still got to do some more looking and searching. But in Alabama, where we lived, the main road went in front of our house, between our house and our barn. And the neighbor came to look for some wood in the shed behind the barn. And he came back and he said, Miss Hughes, that was my mother's name, my maiden name. Miss Hughes, you need to call the sheriff. There's a dead woman in your barn. And so she called the local sheriff, and they did all the stuff that they were supposed to do. And during the time they were looking for this person, Um, this man would stop at the house and talk, and he did me too a couple of times. He asked me several times too, what the police know about that dead woman that they found out there. And so he would stop, and what is it? They put themselves into the investigation somehow so they can keep up with the information being put out there. Right. And come to find out, we recognized him as this guy that kept standing by and talking to Dad or talking to me. And I got, in the paper when they put his picture in the paper, and he had killed several women, raped and killed several women. And when I realized that, not at that time, I didn't think nothing of it at that time, but a few years back, I got to thinking about that, and I got really weak in the knees and kind of sick at my stomach, and I thought, oh my gosh, I could have been one of those people. He could have hit me in the head, shoved me in his car, and nobody would have ever known where I went.
From having done a lot of studying on the topic, you may not have been a target. I think he needed you because you were like the eyes and ears of what was going on with the investigation, because the body was found. So he couldn't have, because that would have looked really suspicious if he had done that anyway. So don't, serial killers are pretty smart when it comes to certain things. And
well, he was it was real creepy though to know that there was.
You remember his name?
How Kissinger is what I remember, but he passed away. They put him in the unit for the criminally insane.
Wasn't he Secretary of State under President Nixon?
I remember the guy. Yeah.
Wrong Kissinger.
The unit, no, not that guy. The unit for the criminally insane, and right before he was to be released, he died, which is probably a blessing. Oh, well, bless his heart.
Bless his black, empty, hollow-souled heart.
Yep. Well, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Boy,
too bad he wouldn't go a lot sooner.
The only two articles I remember were the one they put out when they caught him, and the one right that they said he had died. Right before he was released. So I can't find the articles. They were in the Anniston Star, which is the local paper, and I've been looking. So I'm still investigating, trying to find the article. In the early 70s, I was a young teenager.
So let me ask you this: have you done any Bigfoot research since your sighting, or this has been?
Yes, I have a partner. Her name is Lanita, and Lanita and I went out several times, and then I had to go back full time to work. I was out with knee surgery from September through part of January. I had total knee replacement, and so I got to go out with her, and we started a project. I want to try to finish that project, so I may have to wait till I retire. But we went out on some property that was privately owned, and she has permission to be out there. And so first time we got out of the car, we parked the car at the gate and walked about 6 or 7 steps down the trail past the gate, and we heard tree knocks, wood knocks. And she said, that's them. She said, because they're trying to tell each other that we're here. And she's been studying or being around this. It's supposed to be a clan. I guess you call them a clan of Bigfoot, family-like, unit, clan of Bigfoot out there on that property. And she has some good pictures that I feel like are pretty, they seem authentic and everything. And I know she's not doctoring them, but they look like faces. And I'm just really impressed with her work. But she and I went on down, and we heard whistles that day, and we heard some whoops that day. And we had a good active day. That several times we've heard some whistles or whoops, but I never heard any more tree knocks. But what we do is we just go out We walk down the trail. We find a place. We have a little picnic. We leave some food out for them, like apples and carrots and things like that, to try to see what they like. We're gifting and see what it does. When we were leaving that first time, they rolled some tiny pebbles down the hill from the top, right in front of us. And I know that had to be them. And I believe that they're very abundant along that area, because I saw what I thought was one peeping out behind the rocks on that highway. And I know that's unusual, but I thought it was a Bigfoot. And she said, well, and then the next thing you know, I'm looking for them in that area. Yeah. Where she took me. So
I think that's a great idea. Gifting. I mean, not leaving, cell phones and stuff, but setting out apples and oranges and stuff like that, and different types of foods to see if they take anything. And what I found really, I've tried it too. And to me, around here, they don't seem like they're very trusting. So they don't hardly ever take anything. But if you look around the area, you can see where their tracks would be around it, where they had been there. Mm-hmm. They looked at the stuff, but for some reason, just left it alone.
Well, we did that. We put carrots out. We put, I think, I know we put apples. I think she even left some fried chicken out for them. So, right. I mean, you never know,
Right. Let me ask you a question. Do you leave some kind of recording device near those items?
She said that they won't come around, that they know the cameras and stuff.
Okay, so being the person I am, and you know me.
I know you.
I'm going to say, how do you know it's a Sasquatch taking it if the items are gone?
Right.
Yeah, right. And I agree. So we're, she even left it was a little baby monkey doll.
Mm-hmm.
Out there, and it was gone when but I don't know that I go along with I mean, I respect everybody's opinion about Sasquatch and Bigfoot.
I have a great video somewhere, at least I had a video. I know I got some pictures of a turkey buzzard playing with a beach ball. So there's this ball in the yard, and here's this two turkey vultures, and this turkey vulture was moving the ball down the yard. So, if a turkey buzzard can play with a beach ball, anything, especially a coyote or a bobcat or anything, could just pick that sucker. And Alabama, you guys have mountain lion too there, I believe.
We do have cougars or mountain lions, and we have bobcats, and we have coyotes now, because we have coyotes at the house here.
Yeah. So Brandy just upgraded her membership to channel patron.
Thank you, Brandy.
Why, thank you.
But I don't know. We're trying different things, and she told me first time, she said, wear something with no pictures on it, something solid, and also wear your hair down. They like long hair. And so, Steve, you're out of luck. Anyway.
But, people don't know this, but Chris's success years back was he had a mullet.
I remember mullets. That was my year in high school.
Oh, no.
Mike just wrote, it hasn't come across, there it is. Mike just wrote, leave the beach balls out of it.
Yeah.
Long story, there's a funny story behind that one.
Well, she told me, she said they seem to be attracted to, or not attracted in a sexual way or anything like that, but attracted to females being around. And I've heard that many times from different people, that they seem to be more drawn to females. So, I mean, to me, I know that any animal, if it is an animal, can be dangerous. But I have a peaceful calm around them out in that area. I'm not scared to be out there in that area. I feel a peaceful calm out there. When I got back to the car before I reached the gate, I got really confused and disoriented and just really disoriented. I don't know if that was something that I don't know what happened. So I've always heard that they can do that little
Yeah. Have you ever experienced the hummingbird flutter, in your ear?
No, she did. She did. But I didn't. I got confused and disoriented, and I didn't know whether to go back into the woods or keep going the way I was going. It was like I didn't know all of a sudden what to do.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was. I don't believe. I was going to say I don't believe they're from a UFO. I just really don't believe that. I believe they're an animal, a higher instinctual animal. But that's just my belief. But I respect other people's beliefs.
Right. Have you ever used a beach ball in Bigfoot research?
Okay.
Have you ever used one?
No.
Watch what happens.
Steve is snomping off to get the other inflatable that we have out. Any other questions there from the audience? So it's a good thing it's beach ball.
There you have it.
That's why we don't bring out the beach balls around Steve. Isn't that right, Mike?
But it was a good experience, and the times we've been out there, we've, and I've got what is the EF meter thing?
Well, we got to say this: Joe became a channel member.
Thanks,
as
Joe.
well. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, man.
You know what? God, and poor guy, he's having. Anyway, but thank you, Joe.
We appreciate it.
Whoop. There it is.
Oh, yeah. That was terrible, Steve.
Well, I wasn't even thinking of the beach ball event until he mentioned it. Oh, yeah.
Thank God it wasn't a basketball.
Well, no, I wouldn't have thrown that.
Oh, no. No, I don't think he would. He wouldn't have checked Mike in the face with a basketball. Surely.
The funny thing is that was the night we had the tree knock and we had the rocks thrown at us, and I'm still, my lighthearted self.
I guess I'm crazy, but and don't say amen. But I guess I'm crazy, but I want to see one at 10 feet. I want to see one right in front of me.
Yeah, that'd be.
I don't know about that.
I might feel a little pee coming out at that
Careful
time,
what you wish for.
Yeah, but I want to.
I don't know if I want to be that close. Maybe 25 feet, maybe 30 feet. Not 10 feet.
Well, see,
personal space, Biggie.
That's right.
Well, I saw one out in the field on the way to on a nursing run, big and huge and black and dark, and I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna stop on the side of the road and I'm gonna run out there. And I'm thinking, and I really couldn't because I was on an emergency run for a patient. It's on the back roads, way in the back roads, and it was way out in the field. And I'm thinking, what would I have done if I'd gone out there?
Yeah, it's way out there. It's nighttime, right?
No, it was daytime.
Go out there and actually you find out it's a bear, and you're like, oops.
Well, what would I have done if I'd gone out there and it was still there? I mean,
I tell you what, I was with Mike and Alex Petikoff and Eli, Alex and Eli from Small Town Monsters, back last September, and we had caught something on thermal, and we're following, and it keeps kind of moving away from us, and we're getting faster and faster, and then we realized this looks like a bear. We're chasing a bear, and the bear's like, "Get the hell away from me!" And
Yeah.
I heard Alex up at the Gatlinburg, the Smoky Mountain Conference in July.
And even Joe says I was pretty close, 40 feet. That was too close, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yep, and there's Pat with his 1,200-pound wood booger, throws a rock at Steve, and he laughs, which is my typical reaction when I get, uh-oh. So, what happened? Chris?
I'm sorry, buddy. I'm looking at the chat.
Yeah. So, Anita,
yeah.
Any future plans at going out and scoping the woods?
I'm hoping very soon that I'll be able to just kind of retire from nursing and just go out and Lanita and I, she and I are members of my group, which is Southern Sasquatch Sisters, and so we don't have that many members. We have about 4 right now. So I hope very soon that I'll be able to just do that at least a couple of times a week. You know, I want to go on an expedition. I have not been on one at night, because of course I wouldn't go by myself anyway. But I'm hoping to get together an expedition for the Southern Sasquatch Sisters, and at the wilderness campgrounds on Mount Cheehaw, where I saw my Bigfoot, my first Bigfoot, and I call him mine. It girl, boy, I don't know. Anyway, call it mine. Anyway, that would be the thing. Go out there and just act normal, act natural, and just see what happens at the campground.
Well, Anita, you have an open invite to come up to New York State.
Ooh.
And tromp the Bigfoot capital of New York at nighttime with me and my team and the missus, and we can go
that'd
out
be great.
And you'll be safe and sound. And to be honest, you know, don't listen to Pat. Which reason number 3, I don't go squatching with Steve, is because things throw stuff at him and he laughs.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is cool. We're getting rocks thrown at us.
All right.
Yeah,
and
Steve was excited.
Too.
and Chris knows I can be pretty fearless at night.
Oh yeah.
He's been out there at night, and Chris is not a big night fan.
No, I don't believe in researching at night because I can't stay in the dark.
But every time I go down there, I always drag him out at night.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you know, the areas where we've gone, you know, I've been there at night before, and you know, that's okay. You can catch some eye shine, and that one night Scott and I were there. We got the eye shine with the really strong swampy dog smell, and that's fine. You know, I was like 10 feet away from my vehicle, but you know, if I go out in the areas where I normally go 3 or 4 miles in, that means 3 or 4 miles back, you know, to get to the main road. And so if I'm 3 or 4 miles in, you know, that's a long way to be away from the car when you hear something crashing around in the woods beside you.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you can't really, I do have those glasses. What are they called, Steve? The night vision binocular thing.
Yep, the night vision. Yep,
it's got the infrared illuminators and stuff, and it's really cool. You know, it's not thermal, but you know, it you could actually see something.
Yeah, the last time I was down with Chris, we actually, using the NVGs, we actually filmed a bat flying around.
Yeah,
clear as anything.
Yeah, he's
sitting there swooping, getting insects.
And it was really, really dark that night. That bat, boy, he just had him right in frame. But
wow.
Yeah, I'd rather go out during the day, especially if you're going to be trekking, you know, way back deep in the hills. At least if you get back in there and you hear a bunch of banging around and sticks breaking and stuff, you can look and see what's doing it. You know, at nighttime, you're just, I don't know what's over there. It could be bear, could be a deer, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and, you know, one of the coolest things you can buy, even though it's not going to prove a Sasquatch is real, get yourself a FLIR or a thermal.
Yeah.
Because that'll give you a lot of answers as to what's making those noises in the woods.
Yeah.
It's not going to prove a Sasquatch exists. You know, and I know there's thermals out there now. You look at the ones Mike has, which, you know, are some pretty hefty dollars. They may prove it because of the clarity and the resolution in the tubes. But, you know, if you're going to go lower end, you're not. But it's a great tool to figure out, hey, that's a deer, that's a bear. I mean, I was in Pennsylvania in 2019, and we hear this, and I'm taking a group through for the Pennsylvania, not 2019, this may have been 2018 or 2017. The Pennsylvania 2017, the Pennsylvania Bigfoot camping adventure. And we got the team, and we could hear something moving, and we can automatically. So I pull out the FLIR, I FLIR it, and standing on the other side of this brush was this 6-foot object, completely bright, you know, and like, oh my God, is that one there? Because you can tell at that point in time it's not wearing clothing. It's close enough. But you can't really, it's still a little bit far away to clearly make out what it is, but it's clear enough to see it's not wearing clothes, because in the thermal you can see the layers and such. Yeah. And then after, you know, maybe 5 or 10 seconds, it drops, and then all of a sudden you see it ungulate away. So it was a bear. And the bear stood up, looked at us, popped down, and took off. Right. And you know, that's the cool thing about, you know, the East Coast, and including Alabama, even though it's the Southeast. You don't have to worry about those nasty brown bears that want to pick a fight.
Yeah,
sometimes.
We got black bears.
and they're like, you know, generally a black bear can scare pretty easy. Yeah, get out of here. Unless they have cubs, then you got to be careful.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if you're not startling them and you're loud enough, they'll keep away from you. And sometimes they startle very easily. Like, oh, shit, I'm out. And
the black bears are making a comeback in this area, but I still don't want to go out at night. I mean, we have venomous snakes a lot in Kentucky, and you know, I know a lot of people say, well, what are the odds that you will step on a venomous snake in the dark while you're out somewhere? I've done it. Yeah.
If anybody can do it, Chris can.
I've had a rattlesnake hung in my britches leg. Yes, I have. I've done it. Yes.
Oh no.
So just to show you this real quick.
No more.
Anita, and these have come down in price. This is your very basic. This is your very basic type of FLIR here that attaches to a smartphone. Oh. And you just download the software from the App Store and you plug it in, and it just plugs into your USB-C.
Cool.
And that's how we got the bear. And you can record video just like you would off your phone camera. It records audio too. You can take pictures off it. It'll timestamp and date it. Any weather data you want to put on it, you can do that as well. But
Steve,
just
put a
snaps
link
right
to that in the description of this show if you don't care.
Yep.
Because I would like to check that out too.
Me too.
And it's a nice little tool. You can plug it into a tablet if you want to set it up on a tripod or something, and everybody can look and see what's going on. I have an extension cord that if I get the proper housing, I can actually wire it into my vehicle to a tablet, so as I'm driving down the road, I can get a FLIR shot of what's going on in front of me or on the side of me, or wherever I want to direct it. So there's and thanks to Mike Ann for coming up with the idea of the proper extension cable and that clamp for the.
So I have a question. If I get out and on an expedition with you guys and I start crying like a baby, you're going to tolerate me?
Send her to the car.
Depending on what's happening, Nita, I may be right there beside of you. We'll break out a box of tissues and pass them around.
All right.
Yeah, but he starts crying. All of a sudden, you hear a Bigfoot go, whoa! Yeah. They gotta laugh. I mean, gorillas laugh.
If anybody ever got kidnapped by one, it'd probably be me.
Look who snuck in, Mr. Lee 3PO.
Lee 3PO, welcome.
What's
Good
up?
to see you.
Mike says, cute little Sikh. Hold on, remember the oh, look at the little bit. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? That is a real good basic, it's good to see, okay, what am I looking at? It's not going to prove anything. Resolution isn't, by any means close enough to prove anything, but it's going to, give you an idea what you're looking at. And you'll be surprised, you'll hear these little things, movement on the ground, and you'll pull it out, and you'll look around, and, oh, it's a field mouse. Or it's a raccoon, or it's hell, I heard this, and this happened in Alabama, because I have researched in Alabama before, around the Dothan Enterprise area.
That's south of me.
Yep. And I remember I'm in the woods, in this pasture where there was a death of a cow and a track found as well. And the cow, I kind of did an impromptu necropsy on the cow, and it actually had its jaw broken and neck broken, like something went up to it and went.
Yeah, that's all
right. Right. So, the first night we're out there, I catch something in the thermal crossing, or no, I catch something in the night vision going into the wood line. After somebody with the FLIR said, "Hey, there's one crossing the pasture," so I see it duck into the woods. Of course, there's Pat. I go booking out there, start going into the woods. I can hear the thing going, shh, shh, shh. And I look to see if anybody followed me. Not a single person moved. Right? The next night, we're in another part of the pasture, and we hear all this big crashing going on. Crash, boom, bam, boom, 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 bam. And all of a sudden, out from the wood line comes an armadillo.
Yeah.
And those things are the loudest creatures in the forest ever. Little friggin' armored raccoon. They just come crashing through.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, a therm probably would have picked that up a lot sooner had I had one there that night when the armadillo, like, oh, it's an armadillo. Look, there, it's coming through. And it would have been a cool video. I also use a FLIR Scout, come the end of the year, next year, looking at upgrading my FLIR equipment to get something better that we can probably get some proof off of, if there's proof to be had. And Keith is asking, where is the lady from? Keith used to be from Alabama.
Oh.
And now he's in the great ocean state of Kansas. A lot of beachfront property there. I went to Kansas once. The only thing I came back with was a friggin' tumbleweed. Anyway, no joke.
Well, I'm from East Central Alabama, almost to Georgia. I'm about 2 hours from Atlanta, 1 hour from Birmingham. So that's kind of tell him where I am.
And beavers are the worst every time a tail slaps water. I'm like tree knock. Not so much. You know what? Beavers are great at jumping into the water, making this big splash. And if you don't see a rock come down, it's nighttime and you're by a body of water, all of a sudden you're like, oh, something's launching rocks at me. No, it's probably a beaver just jumping into the. Look around for some beaver lodges.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when you're out in the woods, and of course your senses are heightened because you're looking. Okay, you got your visual acuity. You're searching for movement, and you got your ears peeked out. You're listening for sounds.
So
and
what
then
is
something
considered
jumps out and rustles the leaves right behind you. Like whoa.
Now, Mr. Lee 3BO asks a very good question. What is considered proof? Well, any piece of evidence is considered proof. But is it absolute proof? Is it proof enough to prove the Sasquatch exists? That's all I'm saying. Like, direct testimony is proof. Circumstantial evidence is proof. but does it conclude to the ending of the mystery, or even as a investigator in the real world? You may get direct testimony, you may get circumstantial evidence, you may get fingerprints, but it still may not solve the crime or get enough for the crime to make a conviction. So kind of look at it that way. Proof can be anything. You know, if you're considering proof as being the absolute,
what's it going to take? It's going to take a
what's
body.
It's going to take a shitload of proof is what it's going to take.
Yeah, it's going to take a body. It's going to take a physical specimen.
I've had people really make fun of me because they think, that I'm just ragging them or whatever and all, but I know what I saw. And I mean, I didn't have any proof from them because we didn't have cell phones back then, but I'm not crazy, and I know what I saw, and I stand on it firm.
The chat is really hot.
Yeah, Jason trying to join as a member, but nothing comes up when I hit join. I have no idea. You might want to go to after the show. You might want to go to the home page and try it that way.
Yeah.
Under the membership tab, that may be a little bit easier than trying to hit the join on the show. So, but I appreciate it, Jay. Thank you. I got a video of Beaver saying up, 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 and you'd swear a man was saying it. Yeah, probably. There are a lot of, look at the screaming goat.
That's something that's no longer around here. Well, I don't say they're not extinct, okay, but they're few and far between now. And this area used to be so common and abundant with beaver. There's places like called Beaver Creek and things of that nature. But, over the decades, I guess they were all trapped out to make hats.
Oh, it's kind of funny. You go up to Whitehall and you have a lane called Stalker Lane. Like, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
So
that brings up lots of pictures.
And Jay has a great Sasquatch story as well. And he had told it. If you ever catch it, I also did a short on the channel. Catch out Jay's story. It's incredible. Incredible witness, Jay. As you as well, Anita. That was a really great encounter. And thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
And because it takes a little bit of gumption and bravery to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I held on to it for so many years, and I mean, it's something that I'm never going to forget.
Yep. And that is, something that, there's a big difference between, you can always tell the bogus witnesses because they're trying to tell everybody and make a big deal out of it. And then there's the people that, hey, I'm doing this Bigfoot conference and I can tell my story if you want me to. And yeah, damn straight I do. If you're up to telling it, it's a brave thing to do. And let me ask you, after I'm very big into behavior of all sorts of this mystery, behavior leading up to, behavior afterwards, behavior of the creatures in relation to primate behaviors and primate habitation. One of the things I ask for is, how many times after your sighting did it play in your head?
Probably daily, because like I said, I thought this thing was going to track me down and come after me. I didn't know, I did not know what they do. And like I said, I didn't live that far. And, if it was close enough in the woods on our hike out, why couldn't it track me down if it got a scent of me or him? And I didn't know. I was just so naive. But it scared me. It scared me enough to think that it's going to come after me.
Right. Now I'm going to give you.
I grew up watching Dark Shadows on TV when I was just a little kid, and then it was like, oh my gosh, Quentin's theme and Barnabas Collins, and it scared me half to death. I wouldn't walk past the dark stairway at night. So,
and upbringing does. How it affects a lot of people is in the spectrum of how they were raised, where were they raised, stuff like that. And there's definitely a tougher culture in the South to a lot of outdoorsy things. I think it's more country in the South.
We were surrounded by woods, and I played in the woods all the time. And at night, I didn't go out in the woods because I just always felt there was something out there. You know, and it could have been, you know.
The other interesting thing I always point out is, and this is a true story. There is a gentleman who had a sighting years ago. I mean, not too many years ago, maybe within the last 10 years. And after a while, he started putting out pictures and stuff and thinking, and people were calling him, well, he's a hoaxer now because, look, he's trying to say this is a Bigfoot. And they couldn't be so far from the truth in that. What the problem was, so he had a sighting and it affected him so deeply he got PTSD, but in a different way, because PTSD acts differently amongst certain people. What he ended up getting was an obsession. And I was told by other people about his obsession, and he was buying trail cameras, and trying to figure out. His life became nothing but Bigfoot at that point in time. And then everything, he was trying so hard to find that truth again, to see what he had seen before. And it took a while, but I talked him off the ledge. And, talking him off the ledge of it, and, because then he was getting into the point, well, maybe, I haven't been able to, get a real good one on trail cam, and maybe it's this paranormal thing, and blah, blah. I talk him off the ledge. And, now he's a real good source of information. And he's kind of low-key now, and I like that. And, no, his intention was never to hoax anybody. He just really believed what he was putting out there. Yeah. And there's a big difference between hoaxing and believing what you're putting out there. Yeah. When you see a schmuck, like Patterson, a Sasquatch, Ontario, putting garbage out there, this is no way. I mean, there's obvious hoaxes. When you see somebody like Chris Noel putting something out there, it's kind of you're kind of teetering on the ledge there. He's had published how many books about all these encounters, but these encounters really accounted to nothing. And when you start to profit from stuff like that, and you have a YouTube channel, and you put this up saying, oh, this is a Bigfoot, and you're clearly shown it's not a Bigfoot, and you stick to that story, I don't think that's PTSD there. I think that's greed and arrogance in this particular matter. So you have to, every case is different, but I can say, knowing this gentleman, and you know me, I'm the first person to call out a hoaxer. I don't care which state you're from. But I think that he was suffering from a PTSD type of event. And now he's starting to come down after talking him off the ledge. So that's what you do to get out of PTSD is you talk.
Well, I feel so strongly about it, that I'm not making anything off this conference. Last year I went in the hole because I paid for the entire conference. This year I'm paying for the entire conference and set whatever we get for ticket sales and vendor sales. I mean, I wouldn't do that if I didn't believe in it, because I'm a poor old girl from the South. I don't make that much. And so, this is something I really believe in. I'm not obsessed, but I'm going to tell you something. I really believe in this. I know what I saw, and I believe in the research that's being done, and I want to see how much research we can get done. And that's the thing, I don't make a penny off this stuff.
Right. I think that's admirable qualities.
Amen.
I like that. It just goes to show me, and it rings true that, you've seen something and you want answers. And I think that's what all of us want, that we want answers. We know this thing. Who would have thought in a million years there are hairy individuals, whatever they are, in the woods, No, that's a fairy tale story. It's impossible. It can't be. And yet there are people that go out there and, well, there they are. Sure, it's impossible for them to be here, but there they are.
Well, I was jaded in the first place. I grew up with a brother who was crazy about sci-fi. And so I watched every sci-fi movie there was during my time on our little black and white TV because he loved it. And so that's what we had to watch, whatever he loved. And so I've seen all those movies, And the thing is, I didn't believe in any of that stuff until, I saw this, what you said we thought was a fictional creature.
Right.
But it's not a fictional creature.
Right.
It's real.
I'm not sure if Mr. Lee 3PO is a doctor way of thinking and diagnosis is very ancient, in my opinion. I don't know if he's talking about what I just said about PTSD or something. No, this is not a doctor way of thinking. This is somebody who has had PTSD. I don't share this too much, but I will. See, there was many, many years ago that I was a paramedic. I was a paramedic for 8 years. I was an EMT for 4 prior to becoming a paramedic. Worked for a commercial ambulance service, so we did well over 1,000 calls a year. I'd seen some things that I'm not going to talk about on the show. It involved kids. It also was around holidays. And my kids at the time were very small growing up. Yes, it broke up my first marriage because I was never home. Where was I? Wasn't at the bar. No, I was either at the firehouse talking to the guys or at the ambulance talking to the guys or off on another job because they were the only one. I didn't want to bring that shit home. Yeah, you could bring, I had nobody to talk to, I felt, or I didn't want to corrupt anybody's minds with the horrors that I've seen and experienced. And eventually I got out of it. It took me years to realize that it was PTSD. I became short-tempered. I mean, I always had a firecracker temper, but I mean, the littlest of things would, just little things would make me not so affable to be around. And it took a while once that realization was made. And it took a while to talk myself down off that ledge. And although it's still in the back of my mind, it's in the back of my mind. It doesn't occupy my mind like it did. But when you see kids die in front of you, right there, and you're powerless, and then you think about the kids at home, and you think about the holidays. So I know a thing or two about PTSD. And it's how we survive. We talk it out. And, I guess that was kind of my trek to get down the line of becoming, learning behavior of people and learning about habits and habitation and all that stuff. And that's how I came down that line.
Well, it's kind of hard for me because I'm a hospice nurse. I watch people die.
Yep.
Lots. I mean, and it's really tough. I mean, I've had as much as 3 or 4 people in a week pass, and that can wear on you with an employer that doesn't bother to say, "Are you okay?"
Right.
You need a break. Yeah. And you just do that day after day after day after day, and you know what I'm talking about, Steve.
And when you're a shift supervisor, you even get less of a break.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because now I have to worry more about my people than I do myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that was always my thing. I ain't worried about myself. I'll be fine. And that's what I kept telling myself. I'll be fine. Meanwhile, when I get out of work, I'm quiet. I'm withdrawn. I'm not withdrawn when I'm with my friends, you know, the firehouse guys, because they know, and we're all, you know. But when I'm home, I'm withdrawn and nasty and gnarly and short-tempered and no patience and anything like that. So, yeah, absolutely. And that's what some people who, you know, have Sasquatch sightings, they get some very similar attributes to that.
Well, I was just afraid it would look me up. It would track me down, and I stayed in fear for quite a while.
Well, you know, again, it depends on the person. I mean, how many people, victims of crimes, they get paranoid afterwards, right? Or, yeah, and I agree with that, Mr. Lee, because you know what? No doctor probably could understand you, probably because they haven't had the same life experience you have had, or the same experiences. Nobody can 100% understand it unless, you know, like it's, to me, it's easier as an ex-paramedic and as an ex-firefighter to talk that out because the experiences are similar. But if you've encountered something else, you know, a brush with death, an attack, that's why veterans a lot of times will talk to other veterans because they go through similar things. Mm-hmm. But if you've gone through, if you're a civilian, let me just say this, you're a civilian and you go through an attack, you have very little support. You have some victims groups and they'll, well, how does that make you feel? That bullshit to me never works. It's always the straight talk. Listen, you gotta do this. You gotta get out of this mindset. And this is how you should try to do it. I'm not saying it's gonna work, but this is one way to attempt it. If that doesn't work, come back. We'll talk it out again. We'll try to figure it out.
Because everybody's different and everybody reacts differly and everybody gets
so
out
I get what you're saying, Mr. Lee 3PO, and believe me, if you thought I was just trying to do a blanket way of curing somebody, I wasn't. Mm-hmm. So please don't think that way. It's
this is not a psychological support group. This is we're talking about Bigfoot. But I'll tell you what, something I truly believe, if you have a sighting or an encounter with one of these creatures out in the woods, and it does bother you, as it very well could and very well will if it happens to you, because you're seeing something that's not supposed to be there. If you go and try to get counseling for it, and you start talking to a professional counselor about this, the first thing they're going to think of is, well, we need to get this person on some antipsychotics because clearly they're delusional. You know?
Uh-huh. They're seeing hallucinations.
You're right. They're hallucinating. And that, of course, to some people, that could be the case. They may have had a hallucination. But to most people, I don't think we got that many delusional.
I mean, I've been through a lot of different things. Like I said, my husband passed in 2005 with cancer. But, it's funny. He passed in December that year. And I mean, I'm real perceptive to things and I've had dreams and things like that. But in February of that year, I dreamed every night in February, every night that year in February, I dreamed that, and the whole thing of the dream was people would come up to me and say, well, how's your husband? I'd say, well, he died with a terminal illness. And that was the end of the dream that I remember. And that was every night in February of 2005. And we had no idea he had cancer at that time. So how weird, I'm thinking maybe it was a warning from above. I don't know, but I was thinking after that dream finished and I didn't have it anymore that, oh my gosh, I hope that never happens. But, and then we find out in September that he's got cancer everywhere. So, I mean, weird things happen.
Yep, they sure do. Yeah, I mean, I think, as far as that's concerned, having a dream about a loved one you care dearly about that's departed is very common. And
this was before we found out.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay.
This was for a month before he found out.
This was kind of like a premonition to cancer.
Yeah. Whether it was warning said you're fixing to go through hell, Yep. Because that was hard. That was hard.
I don't know, Anita. I mean, were you already a nurse at that time, or
we both were, and we had at that time our son was 4.
Right.
Was 3, and he had turned 4 in November, right before his dad died in December.
That just makes me wonder if maybe some of your subconscious there was picking up that something on his symptoms that you weren't really noticing.
Could have been a doctor at the local clinic kept seeing something on the lung X-ray, and he finally sent him for a lung biopsy, and that's when we found it. But he saw it for 3 months, 3 different times. He said, "This shadow has been popping up every time," and he said, And that was in March, the month after I had the dreams, and this was for every day in February. I had that every night in February. I had that dream. I didn't tell him about it because I thought it was just a fluke thing. How weird things happened, and I didn't want it to be real, I guess.
Nobody does. Nope. Yeah. And for folks that are wondering, I am writing my 4th book called The Psychology of Bigfoot. And it's A to Z about, covering Bigfoot on the brain and people's reactions to seeing Bigfoot, and, psychology of sightings. And as we've pointed them out on some hoaxes very easily, how it doesn't make sense. And kind of another psychological thing like today. What are you doing? Taking a picture of a couple of towels on a fence.
Let me get my towel.
Get the towel back out.
I got my towel.
All right. Just hold that up. Here, let me get a photo.
That's just don't use crayons this time. I won't.
That's a new hobby.
I've upgraded to pencils now.
I'm going to. That's a new hobby. I'm going to begin. I'm going to start taking pictures of towels and then review them later.
I got a washcloth too.
Oh, there might be a Bigfoot behind that one. Let me. Here we go. I'll check that later for any mysterious Bigfoots that.
Yeah, that
one was prettier. That one was blue. Well, you're talking about Bigfoot and things like that. I really think that there are some people say, well, why don't I ever see anything like that? Well, I think it takes a person who maybe are sensitive to different things. And I think that maybe these Bigfoot creatures are, because I really don't know what to call them except creatures, animals, right. Are very perceptive to some people. And some people they would never reveal anything to. I don't know what that's all about, but I think that I'm really sensitive to different things like that because I've seen, like I said, some paranormal stuff. I've had angel encounters and different things, and I'm just perceptive, I guess, to things like that, sensitive to paranormal or whatever.
Now, as some people know that I have been a paranormal investigator as well, because I like all kinds of mysteries. Mm-hmm. And I feel that they're 2 distinct mysteries. Now, I think their perception is no different than you or I's. If you see somebody sneaking about the woods, trying to be quiet, you're going, they're up to something. They're stalking, they're hunting, they're doing something. Other animals, such as deer, even will like that. I mean, you can startle a deer trying to be stealthy, but if you're just like walking it, sometimes the deer just go, oh, okay. But if you're just acting normal. Now, the other thing is, I think a lot of these sightings happen by accident. I know mine in 2011 was quite by accident. I just quietly walked out to my car. It was fixated on the crew at the campsite, and when I put the light on it, it thought it was safe. And I put the, I just decided to shine my light around. There it is. Like, oops, I've been snagged.
You weren't supposed to see that.
I wasn't supposed to see that.
Yeah.
Mine was by accident.
And believe it or not, I swear I heard the Bigfoot say, "Oh shit," but no. No.
Careful now.
I'm kidding. That's a joke. I can see the headlines now. Cool.
Darn, it happened
says,
again.
Oh, shit.
Darn, it happened again.
Big headlines tomorrow. Kulls announces Bigfoot curses.
Profane Sasquatch seen in the Adirondacks.
That was a joke.
I love the Gary Larson Far Side cartoons, and the one where the deer has got a birthmark of a target on him. And said, "Man, that's a bummer of a birthmark there, So that was that Bigfoot. He's always being targeted."
Well, Don Larson actually made a couple of Bigfoot cartoons too, and there was one where there was like clothing everywhere, a helmet, and like a little pith helmet, that your explorers will wear. There's one scientist saying to the other one, "I guess he didn't like the Joy Buzzer handshake."
Oh man.
My favorite Don Larson cartoon ever though was you see this fire off in the distance, and the headline is "The Great Chicago Fire." And then you see two cows in the field talking to one another. I see Agent 3643 has completed her mission. Because the Great Chicago Fire was allegedly started by Mrs. O'Leary's cow kicking over the lantern and starting a fire in the barn, which burned down half the city.
Mick asked what's behind the towel, Chris. Well, I think was it Mick? Didn't he see the preview video you did earlier tonight, this evening? Mick, he said, "What's behind the towel?"
I think he wants to know what's behind your towel.
Oh, nothing.
Well,
I'm not telling. A woman has to have her secrets. I'm not telling.
Hey, there's a difference between a towel and a loincloth. Some people's loincloths are bigger than the others.
Oh, please, Steve, don't bring your loincloth to Alabama, okay?
That'll be the shortest presentation anybody's ever seen.
Oh my God, we got him for a speaker. We're not going to bring him back. And everybody says, "Please."
What have we become?
And we
digress.
digress.
Back over to Bigfoot, okay?
How big is Bigfoot's loincloth?
Well,
anyway,
I think Anita did. She came up with a legitimate fear, though. Like, could this thing follow me home? And I think that's a concern. People,
they should be good trackers.
if you live near the area,
it wasn't far. 10 miles. That's nothing for a Bigfoot track.
And
because I feel like they move up, and we're at that foot of the Appalachian Mountain chain, and I feel like they move up and down migrate according to seasonal things, seasonal times. No, they might. We were trying to figure out whether they migrated from the area that we were trying to investigate. So, we're still working on that. It'll probably be another year because, like I said, I'm still working and trying to keep a job. And and it's hard to work full time and go out and investigate any.
So, were there any bodies of water nearby your sighting?
Oh, there are. There's water that comes off rocks up there, like little waterfalls and things like that from the top of the mountain. And we're on the top, but there's still waterfalls, and there's always creeks. Hey, there's creeks everywhere in Alabama. You know, you just go for a few feet and you see another creek. You know, so and there may have been a lake nearby that I wasn't aware of.
Welcome, Jay. Appreciate it, buddy.
So anyway, there may have been a lake somewhere nearby. There are lakes all over Alabama too.
I think these natural springs are real popular among these creatures too.
Okay. Well, you know, there's a lot of game up there.
Oh no.
Next question. Are there a lot of pecan? All right. Southern question.
Oh no.
Southern question. Are there a lot of
pecan
trees around?
Good bit. I have one in my yard. And there are hickory nut.
Hickory nuts. There you go. You said it right. That's right.
Hickory nut trees.
Hickory.
There's also huckleberries and blackberries and
hollers
things like that. So they're all.
And don't forget the hollers.
Them hollers.
Hills and hollers.
Yep. Them hollers. We're going down the holler now.
That's right.
Because you know what? I was going to call it the old pecan. I stopped myself.
There are other kinds that like
northern
plums and all kinds of fruit and things that they can eat. Plus the game on the game trails and stuff. Well, I have to tell you the reason I don't talk as Southern as most people down here. Now, this is not Southern hardly. I was in broadcasting for about 14 years, so I tried to get rid of the accent. As soon as I moved back home, you can forget that. Because I'm gonna pick it up again, and I'm gonna talk just like this right here.
That's right.
But yeah, there's plentiful nuts and berries and things.
Yeah. That's the nice thing about
and Matt from Central Florida Bigfoot has snuck in. Hello, Matt.
Welcome, Matt.
And I see you're helping, our local, Sherwin-Williams sales rep take care of things. Yes, I prefer the flat. So, and I know every time I say that, Mike is going, anyway, guess what time it is, Chris?
Are we getting close? I think we are.
Wow. Time flies when you're having fun.
Well, Anita has been a fun guest. I mean, it's been great talking to her. It's like I'm talking to a neighbor, and that's.
Thank y'all so much for having me on this show here. Y'all come back now. Kick your shoes off.
Bless your heart.
So
man. I think that's the first thing I'm going to say when I see you. Bless your heart.
You're going to walk up to me and say, bless your heart.
Bless your heart. I could use, let's see if I can throw I'll throw the Boston accent on that. Bless your heart. Doesn't quite have the same ring to it. But,
I can teach you some Southern if you want me to.
It's weird,
I spent enough time there. I know what a widget is, so I'm.
It's very weird because even though I'm in Kentucky, and we're considered the South, but we're really not the South. I mean, we're really. right about the middle, and then
more Midwest.
We're compared to people in Tennessee and Alabama, I guess they feel like we're Yankees or something, but Northerners.
No, we had Charlie Raymond last year, so we know him. He was fairly Southern talking.
So,
I love it. Over in Kentucky, you get over in the eastern part of Kentucky, the extreme eastern part of the state, and they use Ewans all the time. How Ewans doing? Well, I'm doing fine.
Well, I say y'all.
Yeah. Ewans want a glass of water.
I picked up y'all because I spent a lot of time in South Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama.
Well, mine's a true y'all.
But anyway, I want to thank you, Anita, for coming on, hang out for a second.
Thank you.
Just hang out till after the show is. We'll say our goodbyes after.
Don't rush off.
Don't rush off.
Y'all come back now. You hear?
And
okay, I'm gonna jump in here and do my thing, Steve, and then it's all yours, baby.
All right.
Once again, I want to thank Miss Anita for coming with us and joining us for this wonderful show we've had tonight. Everybody in the chat room, man, we've got the greatest audience anybody could ask for, and we're so humbled. And thank you so much for being here with us tonight and joining us. If it's the first time you're watching the channel on YouTube, bump the subscribe, smash the like button. That helps with the algorithm. Like, we're poor boys. We don't have $20,000 to promote a video or anything. So anything you can do, we sure appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Amen. And again, I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight, and for those who showed up to the premiere of the Jumping the Shark video. In case Mr. P is out there watching, this is what we think of your video, or your picture, I should say.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
Yeah, great picture, dude. Anyway, folks, we love you all. And everybody have a great Memorial Day tomorrow. Enjoy your time with your family and having a barbecue or something. Do something fun. If you got to work, I'm sorry.
Think of the veterans.
That's right. Think of the veterans who've given their life.
That's right.
Veterans Day is for all veterans. Memorial Day is for veterans who have given their life.
Yes.
That's right.
In service to their country. So, say a prayer to them. Say a prayer for them. Do something nice. Maybe drop a flower. I know we have a military cemetery not too far from here. Drop off a flower or two for a veteran. Or thank a veteran's widow or widower. That would be a really cool thing, too. Mm-hmm. But anyway, on behalf of... Did you see that? The dog snuck in. See, the door is now open. While I was talking, he actually pushed the door open.
And you got to take his watch away.
Anyway, on behalf of everybody here, have a happy, great week. Stay healthy, stay safe. God bless. Most of all, keep on squatching. We'll catch you here all next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Catch y'all later.
Hey folks, you've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us each week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Kulls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless. And keep on squatching.